This is a story about the making of an original American ballet, created to commemorate the bombing in Oklahoma City on April 19, 1995. It is still the most deadly act of domestic terrorism in U.S. history. A memorial now stands where the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building once stood. This is a story about the creation of an original American ballet, created to commemorate lives lost and lives changed, and how a city rebuilt itself from the smoke and ashes of April 19th, 1995.
I'm sure there are a lot of people that when they're looking at, Oklahoma City Ballet, they're going to do a commemorative ballet around the events of April 19th, 1995. How in the world are they going to tell that story?
This isn't the sad part of the bombing that we want to tell. It's a celebration of our community and how we came together, and that's what we want to celebrate, and that's what we're going to get excited about. Robert has chosen a title for this dance. He is calling it A Little Peace, and peace as in P-E-A-C-E.
I'm looking at A Little Piece as dance theater. You will be able, as an audience member, to get a sense of emotion, of emotional context.
There was a peace that settled on our community after that terrible bombing in Oklahoma City.
We're telling the story of, an unfortunate event that happened in 1995. And so it's tangible, it's real, it's human.
I certainly hope that there will be interest in this ballet, not just here, but many other places around the world.
Over a decade ago, the Oklahoma City Ballet was struggling financially. They were considering closing the doors. And then, everything changed. The board of the ballet launched a campaign to raise funds to find a new home.
Choreographers step into this amazing facility that we work in. They are blown away and say, there's just not many places like this anywhere in the world where dancers can come and work in such comfortable, wonderful facilities.
The new facilities allowed for expansion, offering up more dance classes for the community and growing the size of the professional dance troupe. Oklahoma City Ballet is now recognized as one of the top 10 ballet companies in the nation.
Growing up here, it's been really incredible to see the ballet grow from what it was to what it is now.
You want to be a part of a company that is doing well. And so seeing Oklahoma City Ballet kind of take off the way it has, it makes you as a dancer feel better about yourself.
I think dancing with the Oklahoma City Ballet is so special because the dancers feel like family, and you don't find that a lot of other places.
Here at the Oklahoma City Ballet, we are a very tight-knit company. It's one of the things that I think makes us continue to grow is we trust each other, we work together to push each other to be the best dancers and artists we can be.
It is such a wonderful organization and something that I'm passionate about, so I love it. I go home with a smile on my face every evening, no matter what the challenges have been that day.
A little piece comes from the mind of the ballet's artistic director, Robert Mills. 25 years ago, Mills joined the ballet as a dancer. Since then, he's been a teacher, choreographer, designer, and for the past 11 years, the company's artistic director.
My belief is Robert is one of the best artistic directors around. He took this company 11 years ago and has slowly but surely built it up to have this repertoire that is recognized internationally.
You really approach creating a ballet like a team leader. A lot of people think it's one person's vision, and certainly it is to the extent that you need to inspire your vision in others, but you first have to bring the right people to the table.
I like Robert because he's not too far removed from being a dancer. I feel like he's a dancer's director. Like he understands what we go through.
He's a very emotionally connected person, and I think he lets that guide all of his work, from picking his dancers to picking the pieces we do and choreographing. And I think that emotional intelligence has helped him create a really artistically rich company.
He is very specific, and it's a collaboration. So it's not just you do this and I'll sit here and watch you, but it's, okay, how can we make this happen together?
He's okay being vulnerable in front of his dancers, which a lot of artistic directors and bosses, they kind of shut that off from us, and you lose the sense that they're human.
To just project the immensity of the amount of people.
I really love that he is like that. We're all very passionate, and we have unique voices and things to contribute. I think it's one of the things that makes this company really great.
It takes a long time to create a ballet. This year I began what we're calling a movement lab. A choreographer can't create their art without space and bodies to work with. It will be a period of experimentation, exploration, getting bodies into a studio, creating movement, creating vignettes that tell stories, weaving them into the ballet.
I feel like movement is the most basic form of communication. If you think about it, animals communicate with us and with each other mostly through movement. Even before there was language, we could still communicate with body language. And I think dance is the most quintessential expression of that. We move and we try to make you feel and see something you wouldn't have.
This morning you were watching me use one of those movement labs to begin my process of creating a little piece.
Interpreting ideas into movement takes a lot of imagination and body awareness. Getting the opportunity to have Movement Lab with Robert has allowed all of us to know our edge and our boundaries, and to be able to interpret his words into our bodies and make it movement
Developing movement is an arduous, painstaking process. That's where the creation of a little piece begins.
The dancers are going to take a tour of the memorial. I think that will help them internalize some of it. The dancers don't have to have been here and experienced it to dance this incredible dance that Robert is creating.
It's important that we remember events like this in our history. And we certainly need to, because things like this keep happening.
I think going to the bombing memorial will help us all to emotionally be more involved and engaged in this process, but also be able to show that on stage.
In 1995, I was a student at Oklahoma State. I was 22 years old. Class was kind of about to get going, and I heard people start talking about an explosion and a bomb, and I just thought, something inside me thought, I need to go find out more about what's going on.
Sarah Sweet learned a truck bomb exploded outside the federal building. The facade of the building was blown away. There were mass casualties. 168 people were killed. 19 of them children from the building's nursery. Nearly 700 people were injured, and on the list of the missing was Miss Sweet's father.
And it was about 10 days before we got final confirmation that my dad was not coming home. We found out that he had died in the building. I think one of the reasons I love the ballet so much is that my parents always taught us to appreciate beauty in nature, beauty in art, and so I'm just so grateful that you all are doing this and turning something terrible into something beautiful, and I know you will. I mean, you all are just gifts to our community, and I'm just so thankful.
You don't go to the museum, the Oklahoma City Bombing Museum, and leave unchanged. That's gonna be with me for the rest of my life. When we were walking around and looking at like the personal effects, like there was this one moment I was looking at a glass box and there was a watch in it. And I remember thinking that woman went to work that day like a normal day and she never left. And now I'm a stranger remembering her for just this trinket in a glass box.
I was 5 when the bombing happened. I've walked through the memorial, the outdoor portion, which is beautiful. And knowing that there were children involved and children lost in this because of the smaller chairs. But when you put a face and a name and a story, it's different, it hits you.
It looks like a war zone down here. It's just incredible.
I brought my baby, Regina, and walking through there and then going through that section with all of the children that were lost, that as a mother, I can't imagine.
We're bringing something unique of our own spirit, of our own emotion and feelings about what it must have been like and how this community is still impacted by the bombing.
There is no script for creating a ballet. It begins with an idea that takes shape in a studio, where day after day, a choreographer and dancers work for hours to build a ballet from scratch.
The relationship between choreographer and dancer is incredibly important. There needs to be trust, there needs to be respect, and there needs to be certainly a high level of openness. You can learn how to be a classical ballet dancer, but those classes don't teach you then how to be an artist that is working with a choreographer. That choreographer needs to have a seasoned artist in front of them that can go beyond the classwork. A little piece will be an ensemble piece, but it will have two primary soloists, if you will. The movement that I expect to come forward in the experimentation process will be very earthy, grounded, as opposed to trying to be something princely or swan-like or otherworldly.
It's constantly trial and error. Finding things that work, finding things that don't work, things that maybe don't work right away, but then you talk to one another and you communicate what works for you and what doesn't. You just have to keep trying sometimes. Learning from failed moments is just the every day-to-day that we experience. We're all striving for this perfection that's never really perfection.
So the mirrors are a huge part of our job. We are surrounded by them every day because we are using them to fix and to nitpick, and because you're not always going to have someone telling you this looks wrong, this looks wrong, this looks wrong.
Mirrors can be your worst enemy some days when you haven't gotten enough rest and maybe you're working through an injury and that mirror reminds you of that injury because you can see that your foot isn't as pointed as it used to be or your leg isn't as straight as it could be extended.
When you're looking in the mirror, of course, you're disturbing the line of your neck and your head, which goes with the movement. So if your eyes are on the mirror, you're not really in that moment.
Sometimes you just have to throw all of that out the window and just say, I know how to do this, I trust my technique, and I am honest with my technique, and if that's the case, I can just dance. I'm free to just dance.
On any given day, the Brackett Center is filled with the sights and sounds of ballet. The dancers of the Oklahoma City Ballet come from all over the world.
I knew by the time I was 12 that I wanted to dance professionally.
I started ballet when I was 5 years old.
I was 17 when I started with the Kansas City Ballet.
When I started dancing, I was about 3.
So I started when I was 7, but I didn't really get serious until I was about 13.
For a ballet dancer, every workday until the day they retire begins with an hour-and-a-half ballet class.
First and foremost, dancers are probably some of the most hardworking people I've ever met. But dedication is key to this art form. Ballet has this beautiful artistry that is captured through the hard work and the technique that we go through on a daily basis.
Courtney and I met at Cincinnati Ballet. She had been working there for a few years, and I came in at the age of 19 and was immediately smitten. It took her a while to come around, but I was persistent. It was love at first sight for me. I was ready to propose on day one, but my whole thought process was I was trying to figure out how soon I could propose without scaring her off. So we met in 2010, and we were married by 2012. I think being a mother kind of changed everything about the way Courtney danced. It's just enabled her to like really open up emotionally. Just adds a whole nother dimension to her dancing.
I actually quit dancing and left and tried to go to school and do the normal thing, because there's this idea amongst ballet dancers that we're missing out on something, because most of us dropped out of school in high school to study dance. We moved away from family. So I quit dancing and I went to college. And I had spent 3 years waiting to enjoy my life, and I thought, why not enjoy it now? And after 3 years, I decided I needed to get back into ballet. And I'm here, and it changed my life, and I'm super grateful for that.
Ballerinas usually retire in their mid-30s. I feel that in this career, even though it is short-lived, it's fun because you can enjoy this moment for what it is. You take every day and for its fullest. At least I try to. And I think working as hard as you can in the moment, because you know that this career is short.
I think one of the reasons I love the ballet. I had my little girl last December and returned to the stage 4 months after, and it was a challenge. And now I am 11 months postpartum, feeling even stronger. And so I feel like I am so close to the peak of my ability and my talent. I'm able to really rest in my strength and my artistry. I'm emotional about it because I'm planning to retire this season. I want to have more babies, and I'm at a stage in my life where ballet is so important to me and so much part of my identity and my life, but my family is even more important.
The Oklahoma City National Memorial is a place of quiet reflection, honoring victims, survivors, rescuers, whose lives were changed forever on the morning of April 19, 1995.
Everywhere you look, the buildings have been destroyed. The Journal Record building, across the street.
All of these terrible events that keep happening around the world, underneath everything, there should be love. It's hate that's causing it all.
I can't think of a better way to commemorate this bombing than to dance and perform for the city.
This is our art form, and I think we want to be able to commemorate this in our way, and this is what we know how to do.
Marrying this event, this terrible event, with something beautiful, which is dance and music, I think is going to be uplifting for the audience.
Rehearsals leading up to the performance are intense, collaborative engagements between dancers and choreographer. The choreographer shaping and fine-tuning as dancers repeatedly audition movement.
They are going to tell the story about Oklahomans and about the human resiliency in the aftermath of an incredibly horrible time.
We lost 168 people and hundreds more were injured, and it was a devastating event for this community. At the same time, 25 years later, this is a community that is coming of its own, that's growing and changing. This city has something to be proud of. It has a success story to tell.
Little by little, our downtown area has turned around. People are flocking to events. We've become a place for artists to come and thrive and grow.
The audience will go on that journey. They'll end, hopefully, understanding the past, but appreciative and excited for where the city is now.
But ultimately, it'll be about the movements and that story that comes together with their movements and the stage. It'll all come together and tell a great, great story.